Welcome back to the channel, Dirty Forks MTB, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Northrock Xcf fat bike from Costco. Dirty Forks! As you can see, my mountain bike is hanging in the ceiling. That's how I put it away for the winter. And then this is the beast. So anyway, let me talk about this. So this is the Northrock Xcf bike, fat bike, that I got at Costco literally 1 hour ago. As you can see, the tags are still on it, and the tires are new. It's got some store dust on there. Not that there's any store dust anywhere else, because these things are flying off the shelves, so to speak. Now, I picked this bike up today exactly as you see it now. It wasn't in a box. It was it was exactly as you see it right now. That was on the floor. Based on all the research that I did, that this is probably the best value, let's say budget fat bike on the market right now, in my opinion. Under $1,000, let's say. So this is one of the tags that come on the bike, and as you can see here, it tells you pretty much what the component spec is like on the bike. It's not a bad spec on the bike. The biggest thing I've noticed on this bike is it is a 10-speed. Last year's model of this bike had 7 speeds. So that's a pretty good upgrade from last year. Okay, so now that I have it on my makeshift stand, yes, I know I don't have a bike stand yet, but you know what, this has served me very well. I'm gonna just shine a light on here. I'm already noticing that this bike is very upgradable. So this is actually a cassette. Does have the dork disc, so that's gonna go eventually. Like I say, I'm gonna ride it a couple times first before I start taking stuff off. Jaguar, sorry, I don't know. Yeah, Jaguar housing and cables, which is pretty fantastic. It's got the KMC chain, 10-speed chain, and has Mr. Masterlink there, so that's always good. That's a modern spec. Again, this is modern spec as well. 10-speed, 1 by Drivetrain. The other thing on this bike is Dynasystem Dior. It has a clutch. It has a bloody clutch on this bike. Like, really. Derailleur hanger. This is a Dior Shimano drive derailleur, rear derailleur, which is another good spec. We got these pedals are gonna go. These pedals are stock, they're going right away. I'm putting my mountain bike pedals on here. Pro wheels, crank arms. These measure 155 mil, which is quite short. So if you're tall like I am, 155 mil crank arms are short. But that is one of the things that I noticed right away in the specs on the bike when I was deciding to buy it, because that's short for 6'2". However, it's my first one, and this bike, like I say, is so upgradable. you can upgrade the crank arms at a later date. Or if your budget's $1,000, this is a good base, let me tell you. So this bike was $499 Canadian, $563 taxes in. I live in Ontario, so there's 13% tax. The other really awesome thing about this bike is it has trigger shifters, not those bloody grip shift things. I can't stand those things. And of course it is a Dior shifter as well. Very smooth from what I see so far, shifting. Like I say, it has the Jaguar housing and cables, so that makes a big difference as well. Let's go back to the drivetrain again, and here we see that the chainring is upgradable as well. It's got the 4-bolt, and this is a 34 tooth ring, so it's actually kind of big. If you want a better range, you could go smaller, like a 30 or a 28 tooth. That's going to give you way more climbing power. So I've got the rear wheel off now. First thing that I am going to take off this bike, obviously, is the kickstand. But there is the brake caliper, which is already, here's a little bit of rub. But the brakes are always going to be, they're always going to need adjusted and tuned. It's the brakes and the derailleur, the shifting performance is always the two things that are going to need the most adjustment and time when you get a new bike, no matter what you get. It doesn't matter. That's why you bring it to your LBS and they can do it, or if you know how to do it, you do it. So yeah, that's what I would say. But right away that you know, these brakes need to be tuned, and also right away this kickstand is going bye-byes. Okay, there's the bike with no wheels. I had to actually true the front brake disc, so also watched for that as well. I also had to true the rear brake disc, so it's, again, they're 160s. And you can see also they are both axles are quick release axles. So they're not through axles, so they're not as tough, but it's going to be perfect for what I'll be riding on. So right now I'm in the process of taking off the reflectors. As you can see, the kickstand is gone, and I just took the head, or so not the head, the seat tube out, and it's pretty long. And just so for reference, it is a 30.9, and that is the min insertion point right there. So they're talking like you only need that much seat tube or seat post inside the seat tube. So measuring this seat post in mils, just from right from the very top of the seat post to where the saddle connection is, obviously down to the bottom, we have a measurement of around 350 mils. There is adjustment here. There's lots of room for adjustment. I already know I'm going to have to put that saddle back, probably smash it all the way back actually, but easily adjusted. So far so good. Now just a quick note on the handlebar. It's not super wide. Apparently it's wider than last year's version of this model. It's a 660, and I run a 740 on my normal mountain bike. So once you get all your gear on for winter riding, that's not going to feel too wide. So I'm thinking another upgrade would probably be wider bars. Just another quick note, they look like they're the 31.8s as well at the stem width there. Just quick notes here also while we're in the cockpit area. You'll see that this is a nice length stem. I don't think it needs to be shorter than this. Other people obviously would disagree, but it's not super long. I guess it's longer than most of today's standards on modern mountain bikes, but I think it's a 50, so that's not terrible. I run a 30 on my regular mountain bike, so it's definitely 20 mil longer, but I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. You get a wider handlebar in here, the shorter stem you're going to want. So the other quick thing I wanted to mention, the grips are what they are. I mean, I'm going to be handling, they're actually pretty grippy, but obviously going to handle these bikes in some sort of gloves. But I also just want to make a mention that when I grab this grip, I can't go in anymore because the shifter's in the way. And they've obviously got this set up for three finger braking, which I don't like. I like one finger if I can. Maximum two. So you want more of your grip on that bar at all times. Also, you're gonna have to do, in my opinion, at least for me, I want full grip capability, so that's got to be moved over. You can see, right? It's got to be moved over at least, I'd say at least 30 mil. Everything's got to be moved over. Same with this side. Now I'm curious to see what kind of pressure these are running from the store. So let's check it out. 11.4. So the fork is what it is. It'll do for now. But I do plan on keeping this bike for quite a while. I'm just going to do upgrades on it as I have the money for them, but do quality upgrades. And you can see like the machining isn't so hot, but like I say, it'll do for the first season. There's a ton of, there's three, looks like 10 mil spacers up there. There's 30 mils up there. So that's the end of the video for the review for the Northrock Fat Bike Xcf 2021 version fat bike. And hopefully you found that informative, and stay tuned for part 2.